All right. Three for madness. Question un.
Between Devin Carter, Malik Monk, and Keon Ellis, who is most suited to be a point guard?
Okay, so and the spirit behind this, because the easy answer could be like, none, really. I get it. But it's okay if in this world, that's who they're rolling with next year. And let's say you had an opportunity to send one of the three to point guard college, point guard university in August. Who do you think of those three could be the best point guard for the Kings?
Malik.
Yeah.
I mean, one, he's done it. Two, he is a terrific playmaker.
He is.
There's a little bit of wildness there, a little bit. I don't love the options, to be honest, of the three.
I don't either.
And they're all can play it. They're all probably, I guess they're all probably two guards. Maybe Carter's the closest, maybe inherently as a point guard. But I would say Malik to that question right now.
It's funny because you and I have the exact same answer, which is probably Malik Monk, but if not, Devin Carter, maybe because he's still young and moldable. But the fact that we both picked that, and I'm like, okay, well, why
not Keon?
Yeah, why not Keon? Like Keon Ellis is 6'4". He's actually an inch taller than Monk. I mean, obviously defense is the name of his game. He's a 3-and-D point guard or 3-and-D guard. And also it's so weird, dude. They have Devin Carter, who's a 6'2" guard. They have Keon Ellis, who's a 6'4" guard. And they have Malik Monk, who's a 6'3" guard. And none of them are point guards. They're the size of a point guard, but none of them are point guards. They're all undersized twos. So, like...
Or combos,
I guess, yeah. But then also, it's kind of like what we discussed about yesterday. Like, all this talk about the Kings, they got to have a point guard. They got to have a point guard. But can't you kind of get... Isn't this situation the best-case scenario where you can kind of get away with having a Monk? Or, let's put Monk to the side because that's already been tried. Let's say you had Keon Ellis as a starting point guard and he averaged 4 assists a game. That's not true point guard numbers, right? But you also have a center in Domantas Sabonis who's like a point center. Right. So can't you afford perhaps you don't need all this crazy scoring out of him. You need a playmaker, but maybe he's not a 10 on the playmaking scale. But if he's a 5 and Domas is a 7, is there a way to that allows you to go with a more defensive option?
Yeah, and I think maybe where it could also help, I mean, I felt last year when the team was constructed at the end after the trade deadline and everything, I feel like a true point guard, whatever that means to you, would have done better with Levine and DeRozan.
Right, okay.
Like a true distributor, I think, would have been able to figure out, okay, we got to get this guy going. Whereas they kind of did it by, like, DeRozan handled the ball, Levine handled the ball, Malik or Sabonis, and it didn't feel like there was a great rhythm to that. Whereas if Chris Paul was there, then you're like, yeah, I think he's going to recognize, kind of how this should be functioning. So now I'm going to assume that they won't have Levine and DeRozan. Maybe one of them's gone. Maybe both of them's gone. And maybe kind of what you're saying, they could get away with having a gifted center that can distribute the ball along with multiple people that can share the ball too.
Well, and I think to your point about Chris Paul, he'll be available. Mike Conley might be available. Dennis Schroeder, I feel like that's kind of a grab bag out there. Also, by the way, I mean, the guy on the roster that is most suited and is a true point guard is the former number 1 pick in the NBA. I just don't know if Markelle Fultz can be a starting point guard in this league.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Right.
The guy that was picked ahead of Jason Tatum and De'Aaron Fox, amongst others, is on the team. He's 6'4". He is a point guard. But they say we don't have a point guard on the roster. No, you literally have the number 1 pick in the draft on your roster.
Yeah.
Anyways, somebody said on the text line, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said, fun fact, Keon Ellis, based on size and weight, is the skinniest player in the NBA. And then I just went and looked just for funsies. He was listed last year at 6'4", 175.
Wow.
I'm 6'4". I am 100% not 175.
176.
Well, I don't want to lie. 185, but
Okay.
still. Question 2, please.
Question